What is up, ladies and gentlemen, twerkers, jerkers, and lurkers, witches, liches, and bitches? Had a inadvertent pause there. Welcome to another edition of Johnston Blackhorse Does the Drarwringz with your host, Johnston Blackhorse, the one and only, and I'm here to do the Drarwringz. I'm here to chew bubblegum and do some drawings, and I'm all out of gum. Fucking lame, man. Why do you gotta be so fucking lame like that, dude? Just shut up and get to the drawings, okay? Okay. So how is it going, everybody? In YouTube land, YouTubesville? Hope we're all doing good. Figured I'd do a stream before class starts. I got class today at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. So I got like maybe an hour before class starts. Like probably do an hour stream and then get ready for class. I think I'm caught up on homework. I know I have a few more assignments due this week. Well, I'll do them all later. So, dragging my ass this semester. First semester was like fucking, I didn't have a choice but to like fucking stay on top of my homework. Like with all the fucking math, goddamn English, and oh my god, learning Navajo was so fucking difficult. I was doing homework like almost every fucking day. As my little Luffers moderator, Squish Bro. What's up, Squish Love? Darling honey kitty. Let me see. Guess I can pull up some spooky stories to listen to throughout the strooms. Okay.
He said it sounded like a young man's voice.
Let me back this up a bit to, yeah, there we go. Beginning of the story.
So, I guess it's time to drop this one. Been saving it for a while. Mood is right, threat is spooky. Be my grandfather, World War II Gato-class submarine crewman. Sub is out on patrol, east of Japan somewhere, hunting some smallish Japanese Coast Guard ships. Everyone is deathly silent, so as to not give away position to listening ships. Suddenly, everyone hears whispering in Japanese. Obviously, nobody could translate. He said it sounded like a young man's voice, but some other voices, like women and men, were whispering under the main voice in unison. Suddenly, the electricity goes out. Absolutely dark. The whisper rises to a yell, then a scream. Screaming stops. Electricity comes back on. Everyone's scared shitless. Then, everyone hears a long scraping all the way down the hull, from bow to stern.
Hold on. I was like watching some clips from that new Netflix anime, Cyberpunk, and it looks pretty interesting. And from watching some of the clips, like the labeled like Loli character sounded like her voice sounded familiar, and I want to see if my assumptions were right. Cyberpunk Edge Runner. Because I assume this voice actor is the same actor who's voiced some of my favorite characters. It's like she's got like a different tone for this lowly character. Like even though it's like she's like the character's got like a lowly frame or whatever. Like using gruff big girl voice. Okay, where are we? trying to go through the cast. Who voices Rebecca? Oh, totally not who I thought it was. But like the VA has like the same kind of like raspy like Flint to her voice as this other VA that I'm a fan of. But it's cool, I can dig it. Got some pretty slick animation in there too, so I'm gonna have to find some time to check it out. That's Cyberpunk Edge Runner. I'm pretty sure everyone's already up on it and everything. I'm so behind the times in like some of the like anime I've been watching. I'm still like watching like I finally finished Attack on Titan like several months ago, and I'm just now starting to get into some other anime. I still got to catch up on those. Melody says my friend enjoys that anime. There's finally an anime I'm looking forward to. Yeah, it looks pretty slick. Like some of the clips that I saw, it's like, damn, why? I've seen like a few clips, but like seeing more in-depth clips is like, man, why aren't I up on this? Fuck, so behind the times. Anyway, just I was just curious as to who the voice actor, the VA was behind Rebecca, because I thought it was the same VA who does, shoot, I can't remember. What's her name from Vampire Hunter D? Like the badass vampire hunter chick. But aside from that, like she also does the VA of Bobby Hill on King of the Hill. So I thought it was her because like the same, there was like the same like somewhat raspy Flint to the voice. Oh, you're talking about this other anime. Let's check out what anime Melody's actually looking forward to. Oh, the re-release of Rurouni Kenshin, or like the yeah, they're redoing Rurouni Kenshin. Slick. Nice. Oh, it's not done yet.
Hitokiとうとう見つけたわ。辻斬りも今夜でおしまいよ。覚悟なさい。
あら
あら Cool. Yeah. A manga faithful adaptation. Oh. Nice. All right, back to the story, back to the drawing.
As if fingernails.
That's enough
were trying
nerding
to
out.
rip
Get
the
back to
metal wall
drawing.
apart. Keep in mind, they are probably 200 feet deep at the moment. A week passes. They have sunk 2 small merchant ships and are headed back to refuel and get more torps. He says they all hear quiet singing in Japanese. Then, something begins.
Give me a second. There's like a major glare on my tablet. It's getting that point, that time of year where the sun, as it's rising, angles its way right onto my desk. So I gotta draw the shade. There we go. Oof. Ah.
Tapping on the hall to the beat of the singing. I showed him the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star song from Dead Space, and he says it was almost exactly like that, except in Japanese. Some of the crewmen faint. Granddad said he felt extremely nauseous at this point. One of the officers has a heart attack. He says he can't really explain the tension or fright in those moments, but he has never been more scared in his life. He was trapped in a metal box, hundreds of feet below the surface, tormented by Japanese water spirits. His words, not mine. Once they were out of Japanese waters, they surfaced for air and let the crew stretch out. On the hall at the base of the conning tower is a line of Japanese characters. Some crewmen copy it on paper and translate it. Translated into black water, black ship, black souls, black hearse. Says there were 4 parallel scratches along the starboard side, bow to stern. This happened to me just over 2 weeks ago.
Isn't it pronounced bow?
Going to visit a friend who lives in the city. 20-mile drive, pretty comfy. Play Street Fighter and Tekken. Fun times. Around 1 a.m., I decide to head home. Driving down this road with a shitload of pubs and bars on it. Normal friends everywhere. Squatting outside KFC and being retarded. Makes sense. Pubs shut around 1 a.m. over here. Carry on driving. Just about to hit the turnoff for home. The whole fucking road is barricaded off because of roadworks. Oh, fuck. I don't know the areas off the main road too well, much less when it's dark. Follow diversion, going through abandoned residential areas and pitch-black country roads. Starting to feel a bit odd, as I have a bit of history of my eyes playing tricks on me this late on the road. Country roads dead as fuck at least. Finally find a familiar road. Decide to follow it to the nearest town and out towards home. Approaching aforementioned town. Heart suddenly drops into my fucking scrotum. My headlights slowly bring into view the back of a woman dressed in white at the side of the road. Long hair, facing away from the road. Head pitched down a bit. Every nerve in my body screams, "Ghost!" for a split second, and I fucking floor it. Couple minutes pass by, driving through the middle of town.
Ghost!
Kind of laugh at myself for getting spooked because it clearly wasn't a ghost. Clothes looked pretty modern, so it was probably just some bitch out after a few drinks. Wait a fucking minute.
Bitch.
Check car's clock. 2 a.m. The pub's fucking shut an hour ago. Look around. The rest of the town is completely still. Furthermore, the road she was on wasn't exactly close to the town center. At least, not by foot. For another thing, the road wasn't even that close to residential areas on foot. Wasn't out with friends for post-pub drinks. The more I think about the situation, the more it begins to weird me out. At this point, finding out it was actually a ghost would probably make more sense to me. Anyone else have brief experiences? Like, sort of meeting a strange person on the street and passing them by? 'Cause I've had a few. Told them here in the past before. First one that comes to mind. On my laptop, laying in front of it covered in a blanket with a pillow on my chin. Just browsing to try and pass the time before I pass out. Suddenly, smell a very clear scent of wood burning. Not like the candles my family usually burns. Like a breeze coming over a campfire clear. worried something is on fire that shouldn't be. Flop over my side and look into the darkness around me. A couch is in front of me. Behind it is the staircase. See a big, clear shadow figure rush at Mach fuck down the stairs. Vanishes at the bottom with the wood burning smell. Stare into darkness a while. Roll back over on my stomach and go back to browsing. Second story that comes to mind. In the same room as the above story. Again, browsing in the same way as then. Get a feeling someone is looking at me. I am paranoid about people peeking over my shoulders, so I know this feeling. Feel it by the stairs. Figure it's the cat or little shit dog. Grab the crap wrist flashlight that I have by me and shine it up at the stairs to ease my mind. Clear orange-red eyes are staring at me. Larger than either of the ill critters I was expecting. Like human eyes with eye shine. In the edge of the light, I can make out the outline of what looks like a girl lying on her stomach watching me, with that medium sort of bowl-cut haircut girls used to get sometimes. Stare for a good 5 seconds, eyes locked with the thing. Turn the light off, roll over, and ignore the feeling until it goes away. Third story that comes to mind. Going to bathroom late at night. Closest bathroom is past a short hallway under those stairs. Flick lights on, close door and catch myself in the door frame for no reason. Smiling. Looking fine, reflection. What the fuck is that? See what looks like a pale face and hand peeking and looking at me down the hall. Anus loosens in fear as the door closes behind me in the moment I spot that damn thing. Stand there and decide to do my business, quickly scurrying back out of the hallway when I'm done. Tell myself it's the ducks my dad had mounted on the wall opposite of the hall, and I just saw it wrong. Look at them in the morning. They're too far away to be seen in the dark. Nowhere near as white and pale as the thing I saw. Fuck. The way I saw it, the thing had to either crawl on the wall or hang by the railing to peek and turn its head into the hall like I saw. Don't look in the mirror for a few days after that. Close the door as quick as I can. Fourth experience that comes to mind. Walking down the stairs one night. No lights on, as I have good night vision due to being a night owl. Start to reach the halfway point of the stairs. Then, in the flash of a passing car's headlights driving past a house, coming through the door's little window, I see a clear figure of shadow. A little girl in a dress, leaning on the railing, with that medium bowl haircut. Jump back up a step, recoiling. Shadow girl is gone. Heart starts beating again. Quickly walk the rest of the way down the stairs. Fifth story. At high school, waiting for bro to pick me up. It's raining, I don't mind. Bored as shit and away from everyone else, as I'm an antisocial autist. Begin to wander between these portable classrooms, kind of like trailers. Why? Well, my legs are getting restless and I have nothing else to do. Walk into the quote-unquote alleyway between trailer classes, just enjoying the rain. A very clear, feminine, and British accented voice rings in my ear, like someone leaning in to talk to it. In a teasing tone it says, "I can see you there, you know." Glance around. See no girl, nor anyone else. Closest person is around 20 or so feet out of the alleyway. Retreat from the alley as quick as my chubby legs can go. Had some weird dreams at that school too, while I napped through lunch. Next story. Now, to start this one off. I used to be scared of the dark. I was an imaginative kid, so I saw a lot of things in the dark that wasn't there. Bro shared a room with me, so I felt safe and hid under my covers if I saw anything. Just random monsters. Kid stuff. Only saw one more than once. A sort of goblin thing. An old, withered, almost mummified man, with scars and a huge-ass smile. Crawling on the walls like a spider, watching me. Scared the shit out of me. Forget it. Assume it was just another nightly terror I jumped up, and leave it at that. Until me and my bro start talking about supernatural stuff one day. He tells me, when we were kids, he heard heavy, raspy breathing one night. I had asthma as a kid, so he got worried and looked over at me. And from this corkboard above my bed, a goblin-like head emerged, withered and dried, covered in scars, aged and with a big smile. breathing heavily. It looked down at me as I slept. Bro, in all of his love for me, did exactly what I would do. And rolled over. I never told anyone about the crawling man. Never thought about it for years. And bro just gave me a near exact description of the fuck. Shit bricks and tell him. He's surprised about it too. I've also seen a UFO with most of my family one time. And I saw something in the woods that me and my pops think was a Bigfoot. Things always go missing in my childhood home. And my brother and mother used to hear me and my younger sisters crying out for help while we were at school. Things have quieted down in recent years. Still don't like looking up at the stairs when I'm around that house at night though. This is a genuine story. Everything that happened, I promise, is real, and has been giving me nightmares and bad luck ever since. Go hiking last year with friends and brothers. Some park on the border of Indiana and Kentucky called Clifty Falls. Very unfit, but love nature, so went anyway. Have a genuinely good time, but 3 hours into hike, start to slow down and get separated. Climbing up steep path. Can't breathe well. Decide to sit and catch my breath. Group is maybe 7 minutes ahead of me. Alone at JPEG. Enjoying view at first, but suddenly, everything gets quiet. Like, too quiet. Like when an animal is hunting prey. Shit. All of a sudden, I feel weird, like I'm in a dream. Rhythmic vibrations and ground.
Oh. I have to correct something I said in a previous stream. One of yesterday's streams. I had mentioned that my parents were going to go ahead and put the down payment for that $250 for my tires. It turns out I misunderstood them. They were going to like put $250 toward the tires that they already have on one of the other vehicles. And yeah, I guess I just misheard them. So like I thought they were going to go ahead and like put the money down on my new tires, but I guess they still have tires that they're still paying off. And there was like a time limit they're about to reach. So they had to hurry up and make that payment before having to incur some like other fees. Like it's like the installment plan that they have going. It's you have to make like $250 payments like every month. But if you go like a certain amount too long without paying them, they'll just order the rest of the payment like due. Like so yeah, it's like they had to like make a $250 payment on their on the tires that they already have on one of the other trucks before the whole thing would come due. So yeah, I still have to pay that $250 for the tires. And my mom has to come with me because the vehicle is still in her name. So once I get that $300 from HughesNet, I'll use that to get these new tires. But that being the case, I think I'll have to do like a dono stream sometime in the next couple of weeks. But we'll see. But yeah, I just needed to clear that up. But I guess I'll reiterate that in the dono stream and admit my misunderstanding. But it's okay. Like if the HughesNet refund will cover the tires, that'll be fine. And by the time I get that, I'm hoping I get that $500 for like midterms. Midterms are like in the next couple of weeks also. Next week actually, midterms are next week, so I might get another like $500 bump in tuition. Shoot, maybe like depending on which comes first, maybe I'll use one or the other for the down payment on my new tires. But the headlights are coming in tomorrow. My headlight parts. And I'll plug those in and see if I can do some night driving now. That would be nice. Anyway.
Almost like drumming. Not dehydrated, still have water. Can't be in my head. Start speed walking up the steep path in attempt to catch up with group. Ground still vibrating like drum. Stop. Nearly have heart attack. What the fuck is that? .gif. See incredibly tall figure with antlers dancing in the trees. Dance is almost ceremonial-like, unlike anything I've seen. Had to be at least 10 feet tall. Long, slender black body, big hands, tiny eyes. It's just fucking dancing, looking at me. Captivated, but also terrified. Start walking off the path towards it, but feel sudden tap on my shoulder. It's my brother. Rest of group not far behind. Everyone is pissed. What the fuck? Dancing antler fucker is gone. So is drumming. Everyone accuses me of going ahead of the group. Swear it was the other way around. Don't mention what the fuck I just saw, because they won't take me seriously. Ever since that day, I've had bad luck. Lost job, got corona, got in fight with boyfriend, and had to get gallbladder removed. My rabbit is afraid of me. Still hear drumming at night, and scratching in the attic. Sketched a pic for y'all.
How bad was this fight with your boyfriend where you had to get your gallbladder removed? Jeebus.
Old Dutch family story literally goes back to the middle in the 19th century. My ancestors came from a small village. One of the farmers had this weird boy. The boy would walk weird, flap his hands, kill small animals, sometimes touch girls' breasts. After getting a few beatings and warnings, the boy was kept on his father's farm, not even being allowed to enter the church. One day, the boy enters the church, sobbing and confused, asking to talk to the priest. The priest and several of the local men approach the boy because he is not welcome in the church. He begs the priest to allow him to stay in the church. The priest asks him why. The boy, crying and being hysterical, says he accidentally summoned the devil, and that the devil will drown him. The men of the village are hesitant and want to put the boy in a mental asylum outside the city. The boy agrees, but begs them to allow him to sleep in the church this night, because the devil will try and drown him. The priest agrees, and a carpenter goes to the city to get someone from the asylum. The boy calms down, gets a small bed, and the priest promises he will be sleeping nearby, and that he can call him any time he wants to. 3 times the boy wakes up the priest because he sees the devil waiting outside the church. 3 times the priest and the boy pray together and read from the Bible. At the end of the evening, it starts to rain, and small puddles form. It is almost daybreak. The priest is up already to check on the boy. The boy looks outside and says, "I did it! I won from the devil!" Happy and confident, the boy says he's going to look at the sunrise. The priest goes inside to get something to eat for himself and the boy. When he walks outside to give the boy some bread and cheese, he finds his dead body, drowned in one of the puddles that formed last night.
Fucking dipshit.
Silver City, Idaho. It's just a ghost town now, but it used to be a booming gold mining town. The arriving white settlers couldn't figure out why the Indian tribes avoided hunting and fishing in certain areas. Oh well, probably just dumb Indian superstitions. Well, the town keeps growing. More people arrive. They begin to notice strange noises coming from the mountains at night. Like singing, or sometimes like children crying. Then, weird lights near the top of the mountains where nobody lives. Settlers go to investigate. As they approach the top, the lights inexplicably disappear. No evidence of campfires, but tiny footprints in the snow and in the muddy areas. A few times, they go up to investigate the mountains, but always, the lights disappear. White settlers begin to learn about the Shoshone legends. There's something unnatural in those mountains. something that mimics human speech. Indians describe these creatures as short but powerful men, about 2 feet in height, and strong enough to carry an elk on their backs. These little men didn't just occupy the mountain. They liked to come down to hunt. They looked for children. They'll lure them off into the woods and eat them before anyone even noticed the children were gone. The Shoshone and Bannock tribes said they lost many children this way. Like I said, nowadays it's just an abandoned town. But you can still go visit, and people do. Especially to see the beautiful but strangely formed rocks in the mountains that resemble human faces. Pic related.
Huh? I want to see this pic. Oh, you can barely see it.
Pic related.
Oh, there it is. It's really nothing much.
I grew up on a good-sized farm in rural North Carolina. Had like 40 acres of land, mostly forest, and a couple big fields. The surrounding properties were pretty much the same, so basically just miles and miles of woods and fields in all directions. The area I was in was well known for being Native American territory. There was even a small Native American museum nearby. Not uncommon to find arrowheads and other artifacts. So, I lived here through most of my childhood, age 4 to like 16. I'm 26 now. I always felt like I was being watched. In my house, I couldn't walk room to room. I always ran full speed, and looked behind me because I felt like I was being followed. Had a number of odd events go down while I lived there. I would regularly see random people walking into and out of the woods, which again was miles and miles of nothing. I'd explored all of our property and a bit of the surrounding area, so I don't know where these random people were going to or coming from. It was pretty bizarre. So here's one story. Note that, in this story, I wasn't aware of all the Native American shit, and knew nothing of poltergeists. Also, I have a near photographic memory, which is why I remember obscure details. Be me, age 10 or so, have several quads and rode them pretty much daily. Would often ride around with my pellet gun, shooting at random shit for fun, and exploring. This was before everyone had cell phones, by the way. We had a small deer plot at the bottom of this steep hill, and a shooting lane leading to it. I regularly would park at the top of this hill and watch the wildlife, occasionally shooting at birds or whatever, but rarely hit anything. There was a big half-buried rock I would park my quad on to keep from rolling down the hill. Be doing the above activity one afternoon, broad daylight. Parked on the rock, watching the birds and rabbits and squirrels through the scope on my pellet gun. Shit was cash. Suddenly, everything goes dead silent. Like the kind of silent where all you hear is the blood pumping through your ears. Feel every single hair on my body stand on end. What the fuck, that wave? This has never happened before. The animals I'd been watching were frozen. Suddenly, hear slow, heavy breathing coming from right behind me, and what sounds like a momentary, deep, quiet growl. Freeze. Literally felt electricity in the air. Like when you go down those plastic slides in McDonald's. Overcome with pure dread, and felt tears welling up. Slowly, turn around expecting to see a mountain lion or something, thinking I'm only moments away from death. Could still hear the breathing right the fuck in front of me, 4 feet away. There's nothing there. Absolutely fucking nothing. Friend, what? JPEG. Every cell in my body was saying to run the fuck away. But I was afraid if I moved, I'd be attacked. In that moment, I suddenly heard my mom calling my name way off in the distance. Finally grow some balls and start the quad, and take the fuck off full speed, throwing my pellet gun on the ground. Remember the gun landing barrel first, and thinking my dad was going to be pissed if he found out, because he told me never to let dirt get in the barrel. Fuck it, I'm about to die anyways. Absolutely fly top speed back to the house, and asked my mom what she wanted. She hadn't called my name. Absolutely mind-fucked. Took weeks before I went out again. For years, I never told anyone about this. I'm sort of autistic, so I just never really understood what it was that happened. Not until years later, when a friend was talking to me about hauntings, did I suddenly remember all the odd shit I experienced as a kid. And it finally clicked that maybe it was a poltergeist or something. When I think about it now, it freaks me out even more than it did then.
Poltergeist?
Got a story from my childhood. A lot of spooky stories from when I was a kid turned out to have logical answers. Neighbors jumping my fence, sleep paralysis, and etc. But this one doesn't so much. Be me, approximately 10 years ago, age 9. Recently moved to this weird house on a hill. 'Cause it was built like shit, rain from higher on the hill would run through the house, driving the humidity so high that mushrooms would grow in the grout between the tiles. Creepy fucking statue in the middle of the front yard. Got into Doctor Who like 2 years earlier and just hit puberty. So, I developed anxiety, which in turn developed a massive phobia of statues. Fuck weeping angels, bro. For real. Anyway, so, one morning, I noticed the statue has rotated slightly towards the house. Mom dismisses it as just puberty-induced paranoia, saying she was the same way at my age. It keeps gradually rotating more and...
That's a thing? Like, here I'm wondering is like, why mention the puberty? And then puberty-induced paranoia? What? Huh? Huh? Never heard of that.
more. And I'm the only one who notices this, despite pointing it out and progressively becoming more of an anxious wreck about it. More weird shit starts happening. Next door neighbor randomly makes us some food, get insane bad vibes off of her, and refuse to eat the food. This is unusual since, as a kid, I was extremely polite and trusting, to the point of being quite gullible. Nearly ate shifty sweets from a creepy old man, kinda polite and gullible. Everyone but me gets sick. What the fuck? Paranoia worsens, having breakdowns every night. Begin praying to specifically live until I'm 93. Parents think I'm just fucktarded. We go for a walk through the nearby parklands, further down the hill. Heaps of broken stone statues lying around. Nobody seems to fucking notice. Cannot shit pants any harder at this point. Genuinely terrified of all statues until I moved out a few months later. Time goes by. Assume my parents were right. Fast forward to last year, 17 or 18. Been helping my grandpa, who lives near old house. Drive by just out of curiosity. The statue isn't there anymore. Resume shitting pants. What the fuck, bros? What the fuck?
So somebody moved the statue. What the hell?
Be me, asleep, having dream. Weird dream. The
Fucking
sky is
pussy.
brown. I'm in the back of a car and everything is somewhat dark. Apocalyptic almost type of setting. Look to my right in the back of the car. There's a doll, maybe 3 feet tall. Reach towards doll, pluck out the giant crimson anime eyes, and place them over my own. Instantly wake up. Hear deep voice talking in my ear. Talfum. Okay? Freaked out, but forget. Still hear Talfum in my head. Google out of curiosity. It means to baptize in German. Shit pants. Anyway, not too spooky, but it made me get baptized. I don't know why Mr. Demon told me to get baptized. Seems counterproductive. Keep in mind, this will use both my own memories and second-hand accounts from my parents who remember this incident. Be about 6 years old. Just began sleeping in my own room, since we were able to move into a house that allowed for us to have our own room. Excited because I felt like I was finally a big boy who can quote-unquote live on his own. First night, feel hot. Like very hot. Live in Texas, so heat was not a rare issue, but this felt unbearable. Almost to the point of not being able to breathe. just go to the living room to sleep and forget about it. Next night, the heat returns, but this time feels less warm and more mean. My 6-year-old mind didn't know what malice was, so that was the best way I could describe it. Made me want to leave my room, but I couldn't. Something made me so scared that it got me frozen. Tried yelling for my dad, but almost like those dreams where you yell and nothing comes out. Same thing here, but I knew I wasn't dreaming. Now here is where my memory gets fuzzy, so I'm going to go off what my parents remember. Next day, I go to my dad and tell him about the past 2 nights. He chalks it up to me being scared, all alone in the dark. He decides that day to put a nightlight in my room, and hopefully that helps. Comes into my room that night like he usually does, and this time, he reads me a bedtime story, all in hopes to calm me down. He leaves, and seemingly that's the end of it. Fast forward to about 2 a.m. or so. The absolute worst blood-curdling scream he has ever heard comes from my room. So loud it actually wakes up the neighbors. My dad is not a fast man, but that day, you swear he had super speed the way he was able to get to my room so fast. Our rooms were on opposite sides of the house. Dad basically breaks the door off of its hinges and sees me on the floor crying and cowering for my life in a corner of the room. My dad goes on to explain how as soon as he went in, he felt this pure aura of just anger and malice. Dad picks me up and bolts out of that room. Sleep with them for the next 2 nights. My dad doesn't talk about the room for those days, not wanting to scare me. Tells me that after that, he talked to my mom about it. My mom, being religious and an avid believer in the paranormal, tells my dad it has to be some sort of spirit haunting the room. My dad's still skeptical and decides to say fuck it and sleep in the room himself, just to make sure he didn't just imagine it, since he was still groggy and half awake when he came into my room that night. Later that night, he tucks me in with my mother and goes to sleep in my room. Next day, we find him sleeping in the living room. Mom asks Dad what happened. He begins to go on this huge tirade about how the room made him feel nauseous and almost depressed. Said that the heat itself was bad, but that at around 2 a.m. he felt almost suicidal, to the point of thinking to just turn on the car's gas and let it be. My father is not a depressive, nor has he ever had a history of such. Tells my mom that something is definitely fucked up about that room. My sister, she was about 17, hears my dad say this and, as most teenagers do, tend to not believe him, so she says she'll sleep in the room, to much
Stupid
of my mother's
bitch.
dismay. Later that night, my sister goes into my room. About 2 a.m., same as last night, and same as 2 nights before. She bolts out of my room. And I don't mean run. I mean she almost leaped out of my room with how fast she tried to leave. My mother tells me that she even caught my sister trying to leave the house entirely, in a mess of sweat and tears. Later that night, after my sister calms down, my parents ask her what exactly happened. She goes on to explain that she had been touched by something, and not just a normal grazing feel or strange sensation.
Molested by
She
an
means
angel.
grabbed and groped. She explains that while the room itself became scorching hot, the touches felt like they were setting her on fire, burning her. She said that the pain may have been one thing, but the sheer feeling of anguish and despair she felt while it happened was on an entirely different level. She explained it as the feeling you get when someone you love dies, and you have to see their body in a casket. Of course, to my mother and father, they knew what that felt like, losing a parent and grandparent respectively. My mom finally tells us she wants to sleep in that room. Dad tells her not to, and just call a priest or something. Mom says she wants to confirm it herself. Part of me thinks she just wanted to have a piece of the paranormal pie. That night, we all go to bed, and my mom goes in my room.
And we
Same
never
verse
saw
as
her
the
again.
first, second, and third. 2 a.m., and shit hits the fan. This time, we hear crashing and screaming. Dad once again runs into the room. Tells me to stay in their bed until he comes back. Can hear sister running to my room as well. Can hear talking, but no real words can be made out. Later that day, my mom explains what happened. Mom tells my dad she felt the exact same malice and anger that he and my sister did. Only this time, she could feel direction. She could tell where it was. She continued to explain that she just knew where I was sitting or standing or whatever. At first, she left it be since it wasn't really trying to harm her. But then she told my dad something, and later to me, which to this day has never left our minds. She begins to tell my dad that not only was it there, but it spoke to her. Not the same quiet whisper my sister got, but full audible speech. She says the spirit began talking about my father first, saying things like, "He only chose you because you were the easiest. He only chose you because he needed a rebound. Only reason he stayed was the kid." For context, I am my father's only child. My sisters were from a different marriage. She then began saying the spirit talked about me, how he'll end up being buried by you. He'll never amount to anything because you'll never let him. And this went on for maybe 30 minutes until she just lost it. My sister felt fear. My dad felt depression. I felt malice. My mother felt pure, unfiltered anger. My mom isn't someone known for her temper, but when she is mad, she's terrifying. This was one of those moments. Mom finally told my dad to call a priest to bless the house and exorcise any bad juju. Call a family friend who was also the priest at our local church. Priest comes in and immediately asks, "Can you show me your son's room?" My mother and my father never told him about the room. When asked why he wanted to start there, the priest just said, "I think that's where I'm needed the most." My mom allows him in and leads him into my room. Priest stops, almost frozen. Tells my parents that there is something evil, something cruel in here. And as he said that, he turns to the corner of the room. Same place my mother told my dad where she felt it. Priest points and says, "There. That is where it lives. It's no spirit. It's a demon. I don't know what brought it here nor why it resides in this exact area, but something about this land attracts it." Priest, as he says this, begins to set crosses and candles around the room, grabbing his holy water. Begins to pray and spread the holy water. As he's doing that, the whole room goes hot. Hotter than
Loves you
anyone
too,
has
honey
ever felt it,
kitty.
to the point where we were all drenched in sweat
Yes, you
as
sweetie
this
tootsie
happened.
buttsy.
Priest is praying and spraying at this point. Looked like a movie almost. The whole time it felt like something was struggling, clinging to the room. And then, after 30 minutes, it stopped. No more heaviness. Temperature went the same as the rest of the house. Everything felt normal. Priest then says that it decided to go. It knew that it couldn't stay. Fast forward about 2 years, and my father and priest friend decided to discuss what exactly happened. Priest begins to explain that, for some reason, the demon felt an abnormal amount of attraction to that one area, that one bit of the house that was full of malice and anger. Says he researched the house, and for what he knows, no one was ever killed there, or Indian burial ground or any of that crap. Just something there fed its evil nature. Tells my dad that it's not unheard of for a demon to just choose a random house, and especially a random room. But when it does happen,
Time
it
is it?
happens for a reason. To this
Okay.
day, neither the priest nor my parents know why. Now I'm 23, and to this day, I still think about that room. I still sleep in it sometimes when I visit my folks, but nothing ever feels off. If you see it, it's just a normal everyday middle-class room. I have had some paranormal experiences here and there since then, some bigger and more unexplainable than others. But nothing ever tops this one. Nothing ever gets close to this one. It has always stuck in my mind. It is possibly why I still believe in the paranormal at all. Just the amount of evidence I witnessed firsthand those 2 weeks or so was enough to tell me this isn't all superstition and voodoo. I still wonder sometimes what it was that attracted that thing to my room. Not my parents, not my sisters, nowhere in the house but my room. Maybe demons are just more attracted by toddlers, since they are more innocent and easier to corrupt. I'm not a theologian, so I can't say for sure. All I know is that in some sick way, I hope I can encounter something like that again. Thanks for reading.
Okay, I think I'll go ahead and end the stream for now. I got to get ready for class. But looking like we might be on track to finish this piece today, and then jump on the next one. So that's cool. All right, all y'all. Thank you to my lovely moderator for keeping me company. And if there are any lurkers watching, or to all the people watching later, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, share, subscribe. If you really enjoyed my stuff, please feel free to donate. The link to my Ko-fi page is in the description section below. There you can donate any monetary amount. Much appreciated if you do. So until next time, this has been Johnston Blackhorse, the one and only, and I shall check y'all later. Sweet. Bye.